Did you know that in 2017, sports gambling in Las Vegas generated $3.2 billion? That statistic comes from NBC News. I'm not here today to explain the benefits of sports gambling. I'm here today to inform you on the various ways to sports gamble. The two major ways to be involved in sports gambling are fantasy sports and game betting. Throughout the speech, I'll be explaining what sports gambling consists of and the fun ways to play. The first way to sports gamble, and my favorite way to play fantasy, is fantasy sports. Fantasy sports consists of any of the major sports. In an article published by CNBC, the most common fantasy sport is fantasy football. Therefore, I will be mainly focusing on football. The true definition of fantasy sports from yourdictionary.com is as follows: a competition in which participants select combinations of players in the league and score points according to their performance. This can be done in multiple ways. The first way that fantasy football can be played is with your friends, family, or random people in a league consisting of 4 people up to 20 people. What happens is every offensive player in the NFL is put into a pool and they are drafted by each player in the league. After the draft is completed, each player sets their lineup every week consisting of the players they drafted. Once the lineup is set, each player in the league will go head-to-head against one another in the league. The person whose team scores the most points wins and the other loses. Scoring is usually the part that trips people up the most. For every 10 yards a football player has, they earn 1 point. For every touchdown they score, they earn 6 points, and for every time they catch the ball, they earn another point. The player whose team has better statistics at the end of the day wins the game. Fantasy football leagues can be a bit confusing at times, but once you get the hang of them, they are very fun. And if you are not the person that likes to have the same team every week, there is another option to play fantasy sports. The other way to play fantasy sports is by playing daily fantasy sports games on DraftKings or FanDuel. The scoring and drafting is all the same, but the difference is that you are not stuck with the same player every week. There are different amounts of monies to play for, and after selecting your lineup each week, you can enter a head-to-head contest against someone else for money, or you can enter a major contest with millions of people for a huge payout. The second type of sports gambling that I will be discussing is betting on the games. There are 3 things that I'll be going over that you can bet on in a game, and they are spread betting, money line betting, and prop betting. And those are the top 3 things that are bet on according to Bovada Sports. The first type of game betting that I will be discussing is spread betting. I will continue to use football as an example. The spread is what Vegas thinks the difference of the score will be. When the Packers played the Cowboys last season, the spread was -3 for Green Bay. What that means is Vegas thinks Green Bay will win by 3 points. If Green Bay wins by 4 points or more, people that bet on Green Bay will win their money. If Dallas wins by any point total or loses by 2 or less, people that bet on Dallas win their money. And if the Packers win by 3, everyone gets their money back and Vegas keeps a small portion of the winnings. The second type of sports betting that I will be going over is betting on the money line. This is where the money can be made and the money can be lost. The Warriors' money line was -800 for the NBA Finals. What that means is for every $8 bet on the Warriors, the person betting $8 only wins $1. In the other case, the Cavaliers' money line was +550. What that means is for every $1 bet on the Cavaliers, the person can win $5.50 for that dollar. Obviously, people betting on the Cavaliers did not win their money, but the people that bet on the Warriors did. The final type of game betting that I'll be going over is probably the most fun for all sports bettors, and it's called prop betting. This consists of people betting on random things that will happen throughout the course of a game. For example, normally the first bet of every Super Bowl is the over-under on how long the national anthem will go. If people get the over-under correct, they win their money back and double. If they lose, Vegas takes their money. Another popular prop bet is heads or tails on the coin flip. A bettor can bet on heads, or a bettor can bet on tails. Regardless of what the outcome is, whoever gets it right wins their money. Throughout this presentation, I have gone over 2 of the major types of sports betting that goes on in the world. There are various ways to sports gamble, and I have touched on 2 of the majors, and they are fantasy sports and game betting. Each are fun in their own way, and they give you a chance to have fun watching the games with your family and friends. Sports gambling can be dangerous, though, to some, but if done so responsibly, it can be a great way to have fun and earn some extra cash. I hope that I have touched on the basis of sports gambling and that the information presented is helpful and for people wanting to learn more about sports gambling.